Hey, Anna, thanks for coming over today to talk with us about P55. Now, I know that you're one of the managers on P55, or it's your project, this is your specialty,
Yep.
And you were nice enough to bring all these boards out. So tell me about these 4 boards, and tell me about the chipset, because it is new, and I know that it's bringing a lot more power, it's bringing quad cores, it's a new socket, it's a little bit confusing. So tell me, who is P55 intended for? And tell me about your 4 boards here, because I see these 2 look like extremes, and these 2 look like mainstream boards, media boards.
Yep, exactly. So pretty much, if you remember from last year, when we came out with the Core i7 and the X58 boards, that was really more of the high-end play. So we wanted to bring it down to the mainstream. And this is what P55 and these core processors are going to be. So we're coming out with 3 different core processors, 2 Core i7s and a Core i5. And it's the new socket LGA1156. And first time from Intel is a full family of products for the socket. So really excited about the 4 coming out.
Okay, on P55, tell me a little bit about this new architecture. I know that a lot of stuff is built into the chip instead of being on the board. There is no Northbridge present in any of these boards.
Right.
It's kind of missing. How does the new system work out? Where did it move everything to as far as the memory controllers and all that stuff?
So we went from a 3-chip, which Northbridge, Southbridge, and CPU, down to a 2-chip. So CPU remains, of course, but we now have something called the PCH, or the Platform Controller Hub, and that's your P55 Express chipset. What we have with the CPU is it's an integrated memory controller as well as the graphics support. So your PCI lanes are coming, or your PCIe lanes are coming from the CPU. On the PCH side, that's going to take care of all your I/O functions, and we've also incorporated the clock buffers into the chipset as well.
So that's all coming from here.
Yep, exactly.
All right,
that
cool.
one chip.
So let me talk to you a little bit about, let's say, for the enthusiast, because you guys market these extreme boards with the extreme processors to people that want to overclock. Tell me about overclocking on all these boards, and then tell me a little bit about what's special about the extremes. What, like how many phases of power, how many lanes of PCI Express. I mean, do these media boards also overclock? I mean, are these going to be maybe a board for someone that wants to overclock but's on a big budget? Tell me a little about that.
So historically, Extreme Series pretty much means it's going to be an overclocking board. And anything that's black on these black PCBs is an overclocking board. So these 2 will be your Extreme Series, very high overclocking. And what we're really excited about is the fact that we finally have brought back a micro ATX board. Nice. It's something that we haven't had in many years. You'll actually also be able to get overclocking on this board. So kind of to give you the lineup, this is DP55KG, DP55SB, and then the DP55WG. Right. And so on the WG board, even though it's a media series, which we traditionally do not do overclocking on, this board will actually do some overclocking, and it will have some hardware that is able to help you with the overclocking.
Very cool.
So going back to the Extreme Series, some of the things that we've got here on the overclocking, you've got your normal heat sinks that we've included. We've also included a neat LED light for your postcodes, a back to BIOS switch, which is really neat because it'll take you into the BIOS without actually resetting your
CMOS.
Yeah, it's not clearing your CMOS.
Right.
Exactly. And that will help save you time if you're overclocking.
Absolutely. In case you lose your overclock, you don't have to start from scratch.
Exactly.
Incredible. Okay.
So hours of overclocking saved right there.
Talk to me about how many PCI Express lanes go into the processor and SLI and Crossfire.
Absolutely.
'Cause I know that the Smackover board did not have SLI support. Is that being repeated again on P55?
Yeah, so this go around, 3 boards here will support Crossfire, ATI Crossfire, as well as NVIDIA SLI. The CPU supports 16 lanes of PCIe 2.0. And so you can see that on all 3 of these boards, you've got the by 16, which is your card number 1, and then we've got a by 8, which we've muxed down, so it automatically bifurcates down when you throw in that second graphics card.
Right.
So automatically does your switching for you. So that's going to be pretty cool, and you'll be able to choose whatever graphics flavor you like.
Hey, what is that for?
This guy right here?
Yeah.
So this is the additional SATA power for the PCI Express. And what we've got, this is kind of an optional extra power, and it's really just for, you know, just in case kind of thing. You know, Intel's really big with, you know, wanting to make sure that everything works well for your board, you know, all your components. So this is just extra power for your PCI Express add-in cards.
All right, cool. Tell me a little bit about the IDCC and, you know, basic run of the functionality. I mean, what you're allowed to tell me.
Sure. So IDCC is the Intel Desktop Control Center. We've had this piece of software for almost all our Extreme Series boards for a couple years now. What we introduced on the DX58SO board, which was the original Core i7 board, was the ability to auto-tune, and it's a single one button. You let it run for as long as 2 minutes to a couple hours, right? And it'll automatically set some overclocking, run some stability tests, and then go in and fine-tune it automatically for you.
That sounds incredible. Sounds like an automatic overclock.
Yep.
So how does that work? I mean, like, is it gonna overclock itself, realize that it's not stable, and then revert back to a lower setting until it finds like a balance?
Exactly. It's exactly what it does. It really will, you can set your parameters based on, how high you want the voltage to run, or I think even on a temperature side, if you know that you're using a really good third-party cooling solution for your CPU, you can say, I want it to run a little bit hotter because I know that I have the correct cooling solution. And then it will actually go in, hit a high level, and if it doesn't, then maybe it'll bump that subsystem down, maybe increase your frequency for the memory. And then it'll kind of go back and forth and seesaw until it finds a really stable and overclocked level for you.
Cool. Okay. Anna, tell me about this new chipset, new socket. Tell me about all the new boards. Just give me a rundown, basically, so I know what's going on with P55.
Sure. So with P55, it's a whole new chipset for a whole new family of processors that we have coming out. It's also going to be branded Core i7 as well as a flavor of Core i5, and it's a new socket, LGA 1156. So you can kind of see on the board that we've got a two-chip solution, so there's no more north and south bridge. We've only got this one little guy here that handles your I/O and your clock buffers. And then the CPU actually has the integrated memory controller as well as the PCIe 2.0 controls for the graphics. And so, it's going to be a much, compact, energy performing.
I was looking for the North Bridge cooler and I couldn't find
Yeah.
it. First, I'm like, what's going on here?
Exactly. And so from the motherboard side at Intel, with this go around on the P55 chipset, we decided we wanted to do a whole family of boards. So you see here, the two black boards are the Extreme series, and then the two blue ones are the Media series. So just kind of go down the line. This is the DP55KG, the DP55SB, DP55WG, and then the DP55WB.
Like a lot of our viewers pretty much are interested in the Extreme series. They like this stuff too, but they're more interested in this. Tell me about some of the overclocking features, because 1156 is going to be very overclockable. P45 was a huge overclocker.
Yep.
People were using that over X48 even because it seemed to overclock better, and they loved it. Is P55 going to continue in that? And as far as Intel's boards go, what type of, what are you helping as far as overclocking goes by your design?
Yeah, so these two boards, the KG and the SB boards, are very overclockable. That's what we're really excited about. To kind of start, you see that we've got these heat sinks on the 6 VRs here, and you pretty much can count it. It means that we've got a 6-phase power for the VR. And what's really neat about that is we found on the X58 board, the DX58SO, that we've found an efficient way to balance the thermals across all 6 phases, and that really enabled much more current to go through when you're overclocking. And these, the great thing about these heat sinks is that they're, they're very sturdy, they're solid on the board. If you're shipping, you're buying it online, it's getting shipped to you, it's going to come, it's not going to pop off
Right.
by accident, that sort of thing. And then some other things we've got, we brought back the LED light for your postcodes.
Very nice.
That's on board on both of them. And we've also got this back to BIOS switch right here on the back here. And the cool thing about the back to BIOS switch is that it isn't a clear CMOS button.
It's not.
It isn't. You're overclocking, and then something messes up, and you can't seem to get it stable enough to even get into the BIOS. Right. So you hit this button, and it'll take you to the BIOS on default, but it's not going to reset all those values.
Oh my gosh.
So what you'll be able to do is, bump down that voltage that you hit the last time.
Right.
And it'll take you back into a more stable level. So you won't
Lose
lose
hours of work.
Exactly.
That is awesome. Something else I noticed. What is this thing over here?
Yeah, so that guy, so it should actually be on this one as well. This is a pre-production, so you won't see it on this guy. It should be right here. What it is and what it will be is a Bluetooth module that's been integrated on the board.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And it'll come with, you can see these little pikes here, or spokes here. It'll come with an antenna that you can run to the front of the chassis, so you can get really good radio signal. So we'll have the integrated Bluetooth option for your board.
I think that's the first motherboard Bluetooth, right?
Yep.
I don't think I've seen one.
I haven't seen one.
That's extremely cool. Also, tell me about, I see there's, on the Smackover board, you only have 6 SATAs, right?
Yeah, for SO we only had the 6.
And so now you have a different one, but that means you had to add another chip.
Exactly. So both the X58 and the P55 chipset only supported up to 6 SATA ports.
Right.
So we've included another, driver to support an additional 2 SATA ports on the KG board, as well as the eSATA going out the back.
And these are like a what, Marvel or J Micron chip?
Yep, we use a Marvell driver and chip.
Cool. That's good. You want to mention the light up skull?
Yes.
Go for it.
Another cool feature that we're pretty stoked about on the KG board is this cool skull here at the edge of the board. And what's neat about it is on the other side you can kind of see we've got these little lights here.
Oh yeah.
When you got it plugged in, you got it turned on, it'll actually glow through the board, and the whole traces and the eyes will kind of light up, and you can make it like glow or blink with like the hard drive.
Really?
Yeah. So
how do you control that through the?
You control it through the BIOS, so you can tell it to be on, off, or
that is so
make
funny.
it blink. Yeah.
Very cool.
Just an extra little bit of flair for you.
Speaking of BIOS.
Yes.
Have you guys done anything with the BIOSes?
Yes. We've continued to make Extreme Series BIOS very overclockable, but we actually wanted to make even more. So we've really included more features, more options. We tried to make instructions to it a little bit clearer.
That's good.
And we've even included much more granularity in your voltage settings, and also let you have a higher voltage ability. So it's really for the power users, folks that know what they're doing with the great cooling solution.
Right.
You'll be able to really hit some very high.
Out of curiosity, do you have any idea how high the voltages can go for vCore on the boards like this? I mean, do you give the options for the people that are gonna like pretty much destroy the board with extreme cooling, like liquid nitrogen, or not that far? I know that this is more.
I haven't checked. Yeah.
Haven't
I
checked?
Need to, yeah. I've got my system built up, but I haven't checked it yet.
All right, cool. And then also I know that you bring in the IDCC, which was in the Smackover board and was even before that in the old X48 boards. And tell me a little bit about that. Have you made any improvements to that? How does that work now?
So the Intel Desktop Control Center, I think, was back in the X38 boards, and it's exclusive to Intel. What we did was, for DX58SO, we created this one-touch auto-tuning capability. So in the past, all you could do was go in, it would monitor your voltages, your fan speeds, your temperature. Now with IDCC, you'll be able to, hit that one button auto tune, and it'll cycle through and overclock your system for you without you doing anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Do you want to talk about DP55 SB?
Yeah, kind of did a little bit, but so
That's
this guy, SB is this guy.
why do you you just want to talk about it because it's extreme and micro? Okay, cool. You didn't have one for I know you didn't have one for X58, and there was not one for 48 either, right? A micro extreme board.
Yeah, this is the first micro ATX board in the
Extreme.
extreme that we've had in, I'd say, 5 or 6 years.
Oh, there used to be one before.
Yeah,
Like
way
what,
back in the
Pat
day.
Prescott or Penny or something.
Yeah,
Wow.
I wasn't even in Intel at the time.
Right.
Right. So the really cool feature about this one is the fact that it is a micro. You lose some of your expansion slots, but it still runs SLI, and it's great for your LAN party rigs, things like that. For
Portable, yeah.
very
And still
portable.
has all the same features as far as everything else goes.
Yep,
6-phase
exactly.
power,
Mhm.
back to BIOS, LCD poster.
Yep.
So what are you using? PCI?
What was that?
You're using a PCI?
Yep, you lose 2 PCIs and a by 4.
No one uses that anyway, so it's pretty cool. That works out very well. Okay. And then what's up with the WG, the DP55 WG?
Yep. Exactly. So blue means it's media series, which means
Right.
it has everything on the audio and video wise of the Extreme series boards. However, this isn't your main overclocker type of board.
Right.
But what's new with this media series board is that we did introduce a little bit of overclocking. So the BIOS is overclockable. You'll see it still has the back to BIOS button here,
Nice.
and the LED for your postcode.
Nice.
SLI and Crossfire are also available for the board.
Okay.
So it's still going to be a really solid board for folks that want to maybe start try overclocking.
Right.
But may not want to,
They're not sure if they want to be an enthusiast in overclock, but they do want to have a gaming rig, so they can start with SLI or one card and then SLI and then get into overclocking. They're not limited to not overclocking. And then what about this board? This is the same deal, but micro again?
Actually, this board we've really pulled out. We've almost stripped this down. What we want to do with this board was have an option for folks that wanted to get onto Core i7 and Core i5, but wanted a more price,
Gotcha.
sensitive type of
Get
system.
the high quality processor, the fast speeds, but in a budget price without all the extra stuff they're not going to use. So they still have PCI Express 2.0. Is that
Yes.
X16?
This is your by 16. Doesn't do dual graphics,
Right.
but you'll get the great performance of the latest processor, and it still has, of course, your 4 DIMMs of memory for DDR3. And all the support of USB RAID 1390 or 1394, 1394. All the support that you'll get from the other boards as well.
Right. Just cut down in price.
Yep.
One more question back over here. Memory, native support, how fast?
Yes. So the the CPU on the support side is 1333. But these 3 boards, because of the overclocking capabilities, we are claiming 1600 or more.
Right.
And I think our engineers internally, and this is for you, but engineers internally has gotten it up to like 2400. Like they've gotten it pretty high.
But if you pop in a 1600 megahertz DIMM and you select XMP, it'll automatically run at the right
Absolutely.
latencies.
Yep,
All right.
absolutely.
That's what I consider to be native. You pop it in with nothing more than a click, it'll run
Yep,
there.
yep, absolutely.
All right, cool.
Yep. So native
Very cool.
1600, and then everything else is gravy.
Awesome. And new box.
New box.
Did you have some input on that?
Yeah, a little bit. So we wanted to, from the, I think it was X48, DX48 BT2, we started incorporating this new skull.
Skull, yeah.
So we wanted to kind of update the skull, and I apologize that it's all beat up.
It's all right.
Shipping is not as friendly as I thought it would be. And so we got the new skull logo. We've got our new badges, as you started seeing already. And you'll be able to get some more information at your local retail
on the back.
stores that get you some more details. But we're pretty stoked about the new skull logo here.
Good job, good job. Hey, thank you very much for coming out and talking to us.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it,
me.
Anna.